A man builds a machine that quietly earns money while he sleeps. It works. He gets the wealth, the freedom, the life everyone says they want. And then he says the strangest thing. When you're finally rich, you realize it was never what you were actually looking for. The man is Naval Ravikant, a founder who turned a life of hard questions into a philosophy that millions now quote. His ideas were scattered across tweets, podcasts, and late-night essays, until Eric Jorgensen gathered them into one book, The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. And the whole thing is really one journey in two halves: how to get rich without getting lucky, and why getting rich is only the beginning. Because in the end, the things worth having can't be bought. So start with the word everyone gets wrong: rich. Naval says stop chasing money, and definitely stop chasing status. Seek wealth. Wealth is having assets that earn while you sleep. The business, the code, the ownership that works whether you show up or not. Money is just how we move that wealth around. And status is your place in the pecking order, and that's the trap. Status is a zero-sum game. For you to move up, someone else moves down. We've been playing it since monkeys fought over the same tree. Wealth creation is the opposite, a positive-sum game where you get rich by making other people richer too. Here's the tell. The people who attack wealth building loudest are usually just playing a status game in disguise. So the first decision is quiet but total. Which game are you actually playing? But knowing the game isn't enough. You have to stop playing it the losing way, and most of us play it by renting out our time. Naval is blunt. You're never going to get rich renting out your time. Trade an hour, get paid for an hour, and when you stop, the money stops. Your income is capped at the clock. Owning is different. You must own equity, a piece of a business, to gain your financial freedom. Equity keeps paying after you've gone to bed. And notice what he doesn't say. He doesn't say work harder. Hard work is wildly overrated. Plenty of people work themselves to exhaustion and stay broke because effort spent on the wrong thing just compounds the wrong thing. The question isn't how many hours you can sell. It's what you can build that you actually get to keep. So what do you build? Naval's answer sounds like a riddle. Specific knowledge. It's the knowledge you can't be trained for. If society can train you for it, it can train someone else and replace you. Specific knowledge can't be taught in a classroom. It can only be learned through apprenticeship, obsession, real practice. And here's how you recognize yours. It will feel like play to you, but look like work to everyone else. You find it by chasing your genuine curiosity, not whatever's hot right now. Naval says, look at what you were doing as a kid, almost effortlessly. The thing your mother or your best friend would still remember about you. His own mother told him at 15 that he'd end up in business. That's the seed. Because the thing that can't be outsourced or automated is the one thing only you were ever going to do. Specific knowledge needs two partners to pay off. The first is accountability. You have to put your name on things, take the risk, and let the world see whether you're right or wrong. People who hide from blame also hide from reward, because society hands the biggest paydays to the ones willing to be publicly accountable. The second is authenticity. Naval says, escape competition through authenticity. The moment you're competing, it's because you're copying, chasing the same prize down the same path as everyone else. But every human is different, which means everyone is already the best in the world at exactly one thing: being themselves. No one can compete with you on being you. Then add one more skill on top. Learn to sell, learn to build, and if you can do both, you will be unstoppable. Ownership, accountability, authenticity. Now you just need the thing that multiplies them. That multiplier is leverage. Naval names three kinds. The oldest is labor, other people working for you. He calls it the worst form of leverage there is. Managing humans is hard, and it rarely scales cleanly. The second is capital, money making money. Powerful, but someone has to give it to you first. You need permission. The third kind is the one that built the modern fortunes. Products with no marginal cost of replication. Code and media. Write a piece of software or publish something once, and it can serve 1 million people while you sleep at no extra cost and without anyone's permission. As Naval puts it, an army of robots is now freely available. It's just packed into data centers. So the goal quietly shifts. You stop trying to get paid for your labor and start getting paid for your judgment, because one good decision, amplified by leverage, can be worth more than a lifetime of hours. But leverage without patience is just a fireworks show. Bright, then gone. The real engine underneath everything is compounding. All the returns in life, Naval says, in wealth, in relationships, in knowledge, come from compound interest. And compounding needs two things: time and trust. So play long-term games with long-term people. Pick a business, a craft, a circle of people, and stay. Because reputation compounds. And after years of dealing squarely, a handshake can replace a 100-page contract. He noticed something about the two ways people play. In a short-term game, everyone is trying to make themselves rich. In a long-term game, everyone seems to be making each other rich. The catch is that almost all our frantic effort gets wasted chasing the quick version. Find the people you want to win with slowly, and then don't get up from the table. There's still one word standing between you and all of this: luck. And here's where Naval flips it. He wants to get rich without getting lucky, meaning if you could live your life 1,000 times over, you'd want to end up wealthy in almost every single version. So he breaks luck into 4 kinds. The first is blind luck, pure chance, fortune falling out of the sky, nothing you can do. The second is luck from hustle. You generate so much motion that you stir opportunity up. The third is luck from awareness. You're so skilled in your field that you spot the break others walk right past. But the fourth is the strange one, and it's the one that changes your life. It's luck that comes looking for you, because you've built such a distinct character, such a unique reputation, that opportunity seeks you out by name. Build your character, Naval says, and your character becomes your destiny. Everything so far runs on one hidden component: judgment. Leverage amplifies whatever you pointed at, so if your thinking is off, leverage just helps you fail faster. Naval treats clear thinking like a discipline. Most of us don't actually see reality. We see our own desires colliding with it, and we call the wreckage an opinion. So he says, shade your identity to see clearly, because the more labels you're busy defending, the less you can actually think. Collect mental models, the big reusable ideas from evolution, from economics, from basic math, and use simple rules to cut through the noise. If you can't decide, the answer is no. Praise people specifically, criticize generally. Judgment, he says, is really just experience distilled down into instinct, and it's the one asset that keeps getting more valuable the older you get, while almost everything else fades. And there's one habit sitting under all of that judgment: reading. But not the way you were taught. Naval doesn't care whether you're educated or uneducated. He cares whether you like to read or you don't. His advice sounds almost like permission. Read what you love until you love to read. Start with whatever pulls you in, trashy, brilliant, it doesn't matter, and follow the pleasure until the appetite itself grows. Because the genuine love of reading is a kind of superpower. The means of learning are everywhere now, basically free. It's the desire to learn that has become rare. Read the foundational things over the trendy things, the originals, not the summaries of the summaries. And feel free to abandon any book, anytime. As his hero Charlie Munger put it, as long as you have a book in your hand, you never quite feel like you're wasting time. This is how you build the mind that runs the whole machine. So imagine you do all of it: the specific knowledge, the leverage, the long game. The machine hums, money arrives while you sleep, and you're free. And here's the twist: Naval refuses to hide. He says he knows many, many very wealthy people, and a lot of them are deeply unhappy. Money, it turns out, solves your money problems, and almost nothing else. Worse, on the way up, you can quietly train yourself into an anxious, always scanning, never satisfied person. And then one day, you have everything, and you still have to learn from scratch how to be happy. This is the hinge of the whole story. And the line Naval uses to close out the money chase isn't about money at all. A calm mind, a fit body, a house full of love. These things cannot be bought. They must be earned. Wealth was never the destination. It was only ever the ticket in. So Naval turns from building wealth to something much harder: being happy. And he makes a claim that sounds almost too simple. Happiness is a skill you can learn, not a personality you were born with. Not a prize the universe owes you. A skill like fitness or nutrition, something you get better at on purpose. and he defines it in reverse. Happiness isn't a rush of joy that arrives from outside. It's what's already there once you remove the sense that something is missing from your life. It's your default state, showing through the moment the wanting goes quiet. That reframe is the whole game. If happiness is a feeling that has to be delivered to you, then you're at the mercy of the world. But if it's a skill, a way of interpreting what happens to you, then it's yours to build. So how do you train it? Naval starts by hunting down the one thing quietly stealing it. That thief is desire. And Naval's definition of it is one of the sharpest lines he ever wrote. A desire is a contract you make with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want. Sit with that. The moment you badly want something, you have signed an agreement to stay dissatisfied until it arrives. You've chosen your own unhappiness and set the terms yourself. Every desire is a chosen unhappiness. Now, he isn't saying want nothing. You'd never build anything at all. He's saying want consciously. Naval tries to keep only one big desire burning at a time, so he knows exactly where he has agreed to suffer, and he doesn't let the wanting quietly spread into the rest of his life. Most people carry 100 low-grade desires at once, and then wonder why peace never comes. Pick your one, know the price, and stop signing contracts you never really meant to sign. But surely you think, if I just succeed enough, the wanting finally stops. Naval spent a whole career watching that theory fail. Success comes from dissatisfaction, he says, the constant itch to have more. Happiness comes from being satisfied with what you already have. They pull in opposite directions, and you have to choose. Then there's the treadmill. Whatever you get, you adjust to it astonishingly fast. The raise, the house, the win, the glow fades in a few weeks. The baseline resets, and you start climbing again. That's why he insists all real success is internal, and he lands the whole idea on a definition worth memorizing. Peace is happiness at rest, and happiness is peace in motion. Not a firework, a steadiness. The goal was never to feel more. It was to need less, and to stop mistaking the size of your life for the peace inside it. There's one habit that guarantees you'll fail at all of this, and almost everyone does it: comparison. Naval calls happiness a single-player game. It's between you and your own mind, with no one else on the field. The instant you drag another person onto it, you've already lost. And his argument against envy is brutally logical. When you're jealous of someone, you can't just take their house or their fame. You would have to become them entirely. Their body, their family, their fears, their whole life, all of it. 24 hours a day, a total swap. So look closely at anyone you envy and ask whether you'd actually take the whole trade. You never would. Which means the envy was always a lie your mind was telling you, comparing your insides to their outsides. Run your own race, Naval says, because it's the only one you were ever really in. So if not comparison, then what? Naval's answer is almost embarrassingly old. Be here. The present is all we have. There is, quite literally, nothing but this moment. The past is only memory, the future is only imagination, and both of them live in your head right now. And to prove it, he reaches for the hardest teacher of all, death. Not to be morbid, but to wake you up. Your entire life, he says, is a firefly blink in a very long night. Zoom out far enough and whole empires turn to dust. And so, eventually, will everything you're anxious about today. Most people find that terrifying. Naval finds it freeing. If it all passes, then the stakes on your small daily worries quietly collapse, and the only sane response left is to actually live inside the moment you're being given, instead of trading it away for an imaginary tomorrow that never fully arrives. Knowing all of this and actually living it are two different things, so Naval gets practical about saving yourself. Start with the body. Sleep, move, and drop the easy poisons, the sugar, and the constant stimulation. Then train the mind directly through meditation, stripped of all its mysticism. Meditation isn't hard, he says. All you have to do is sit there and do nothing. Close your eyes and stop obeying every single thought that fires. Do it long enough, and you notice something humbling. Just how wildly out of control your own mind actually is, replaying and rehearsing on an endless loop. That noticing is the entire point. You finally see the machine you've been running blind. He calls his own worldview rational Buddhism. Try everything. Test it for yourself. Keep only what genuinely works and throw out anything you can't verify. And he names the modern trap plainly, a world engineered to hijack your attention with endless digital temptation, until simply sitting quietly with yourself has become a superpower almost no one has left. All of it, the wealth, the desire, the meditation, quietly points at a single word: freedom. But Naval splits that word in two. Most of us spend our early years chasing freedom to do anything, buy anything, go anywhere. That's the freedom money buys, and it is real. But the older, deeper one is freedom from anger, from expectations, from your own compulsive thinking, from needing the world to be a certain way before you'll let yourself be at peace. And now watch the symmetry finally snap shut. Everything he said about wealth was about buying your freedom from money. Everything he said about happiness is about earning your freedom from wanting. Same word, two halves. Wealth frees you from needing anything out there. Happiness frees you from needing anything at all. That's the whole machine. And it turns out it was never really about getting rich. So what do you actually do with all this on a Tuesday morning? Naval points at 3 decisions that quietly outweigh almost everything else: where you live, who you're with, and what you do. Get those 3 right, he says, and you've won most of the game before the small choices even begin. So spend real time on them, years if you need to, instead of drifting into them by accident. And underneath the 3 sits one more instruction: live by your values. Decide what you actually stand for: honesty, freedom, whatever it truly is for you. And then let those values quietly turn down most of the things the world will try to sell you. A strong sense of who you are does more filtering than any amount of willpower ever could. Build the wealth, yes, but build it around a life you'd actually want to be present for, because presence is the only place any of this can ever be spent. Which brings us back to the man from the beginning, the one who built the machine, got everything, and quietly admitted it wasn't what he was seeking. That's not a tragedy. That's the lesson. You spend the first half of your life learning to buy your freedom, and the second half discovering that the things actually worth having were never for sale. Naval leaves you with 3 of them: a calm mind, a fit body, a house full of love. These things cannot be bought. They must be earned. So chase the wealth if you want the freedom. But don't confuse the ticket for the destination. If this stirred something in you, sit with it for 1 second before the next video pulls it away. And if you want the toolkit behind the clear mind Naval kept pointing at, go watch our breakdown of Charlie Munger's Poor Charlie's Almanac next. A calm mind, a fit body, a house full of love. Earn those, and you are already rich.